and welcome to another Three Girls, One Deck. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Let me see. Let me pop up the comments here. So, got some people coming in, but today's episode is going to be dedicated to Oracle decks. Hello, Maharet. I hope I'm saying that right. Hello, Vintage Moon. Nice to see you. And anyone else coming in. Oh, Jamie, hi. Wandering Mountain Bardic Path. So in case you missed it, we are doing Oracle decks today. We have each chosen a selection of what is indie. We are picking the indie category and we are all set. So thank you everyone coming into the chat. Jane, Lexi. Okay, and yeah, we're prepared. We have the order of who's going first, and yeah, hopefully you will enjoy.
Anyone would think we'd done this before.
Yeah.
Oh no! Look at these YouTube pros.
We're pros at this, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm actually going to go first, and this is a deck that I have talked about quite a bit on my own channel. So hopefully y'all won't be.
Can you make yourself big? And
Oh,
also,
yes.
I screwed up and didn't log in. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, Julie, you're all on your own.
Oh, sorry. I just realized that I don't have any admin capabilities.
I rely on you so much.
I'm so sorry.
It's not. It's,
on the plus side, we won't have like the disco thing with comments where you
Right,
both try and click on one at the same time.
right,
It's on and off and on and off.
true.
We have
Which
to-
is fun, but
True,
also
true.
sometimes really difficult to keep up
Yeah.
with.
Okay. Okay.
I'm so
No pressure.
sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I need to learn to be an adult and figure out shit and how to do this after how many years of.
And I should probably learn how to log into StreamYard properly. So we both have things to learn. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, whew. Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
So I'm doing. I've talked about this a lot on my channel. So again, hopefully this is not too redundant and boring. But this is the Morning Calm Oracle. Again, we're doing indie decks, indie Oracle decks for anyone just popping in just now. And this is by Co. I believe she's now Co Che, no longer going by. Used to be Co Kelleher, and this is a 45 card deck. And then you also have 7 sigil cards for ritual work. And also a guidebook here, a little guidebook, but it's just a really well-produced and well thought out deck. Got the back here, the nice kind of matte gilding. But what I like about this deck is that it represents, well, first and foremost, I am a bit biased in that it represents my Korean culture. And so, you know, a lot of these, several of these cards are nostalgic, like this one. You know, I was forced to wear something like this. Younger. So yeah, and this deck is a lovely mix of what I would say like modern and kind of that traditional. So you get a contemporary flavor. You can see here you have stop, and then you know, just lovely key phrases, family. So it's just a mix of modern, you know, tradition, culture. You know, you get that sense of, you know, ancestry. Here we have, this is one of my favorite cards, ancestors, and, you know, start your journey. So here are more contemporary cards. So it's a nice mix, and yet it is not jarring. It is, to me, it is very fluid and a very kind of seamless deck. You know, here we have integrity, image of a queer person, which is lovely. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know what more I have to say about it other than I personally use this for times when I am in need of guidance, or, you know, times when I feel like I want to maybe connect or get back in touch with, you know, kind of my Korean heritage. And all around, this is like a comfort deck for me. I have used this for kind of serious kind of guidance questions that I have. And so I'll do a spread with this. I have definitely also used this for for ritual work, especially with the sigils here. So you have these 7 sigils, with a key phrase to kind of guide you in terms of how you want to use the sigils. And the guidebook also gives you instruction as well for suggestions. So they're just really beautiful. These sigil cards, very simple.
So well, how do you use these according to the guidebook? I know you can go out off piste, so to speak, but how does she recommend that you use them?
Let's see here. Where is it? Let's see. Actually, hold on. Introduction, blah, blah, blah. How to use the cards. So you've got the Oracle message cards. The sigil cards. Okay, so it's designed to share powerful energies I personally work with as a Korean shaman. Each sigil card contains the specific magic each of my Korean shamanic guides are known for. So you can pull, it says, use any of these cards to amplify the specific energy you want to invite in. You can pull a sigil card to close any reading you're practicing with the message cards, or you may use the sigil card by itself in meditations or rituals to amplify the energy. So it is quite broad. It is, and I think I would say that's kind of maybe the one constructive criticism that I have about the guidebook. Well, maybe a couple, in that it's a good guidebook. I mean, it's concise and it does its job, but the print is a little on the small side for my old eyes. And also there are, certain images where I feel like it would have been nice to maybe have a description about some of the historical context or maybe cultural context of the card being depicted. And actually, Sio does that in her Instagram. So she has posts where she concentrates on a card and actually dives into that. And I think it would have been fantastic if she had also put that in the guidebook. Now, she might have done that. Now, this is the first edition that I got on Kickstarter. So she might have already done that in later iterations. I know she's done additional printings of this deck. So I'm not sure. I can't say. But this is another really... I love this card. Another favorite.
Is it still available, Julie?
It is still available. It is still available. So yeah, I think that the small print and just yes, with the sigil cards, I think again on her Instagram, she has given demonstration of how she uses this and ways that you can. It is meant to be, very fluid and how it speaks to your practice. And she has said, that this deck is intended for, of course, anyone of Asian ancestry, or anyone who has maybe, visited a place, an Asian country, and, where specific aspects resonate with them, then this deck might also resonate with them. Anyone who is involved in kind of Asian religions and spirituality, this deck also kind of speaks to that, or, illustrates that. So essentially it's, to me, this is a deck just vibe wise. It's not a kind of, I have used it. I don't know that I have used it every single day. I think I tried that at some point and it felt a little too, it felt like a deck that more leans towards a more deliberate approach to, for me anyway. I know that people use this deck any number of ways, but for me, just due to the nature of the deck, kind of honoring yourself, honoring your ancestry, just tradition, honoring tradition, and honoring, your contemporary everyday life. It's just, I love it. I can't speak more highly about it. So
do you always use it on its own, or do you pair it with anything? Sorry, I'm full of questions today.
No, I have used it with, yes, I have used it with Tarot of Mystical Moments. I have used it with my Korean decks, my Korean tarot, which none of those are available here in the US. So I'm not going to tell you which one those are because you won't be able to get them. But yeah, so I have those.
I know a Korean in Korea.
That's true. That's right. You do have connections.
Oh, you do. Oh my gosh. And that one Korean tarot that you have, Julie, like that first one that you got is so freaking well. Actually, both the Marseille one and the other one that you got are so freaking beautiful.
Oh, I know.
They're
right?
so beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
They're just so gorgeous.
So yeah, so that's why I am. Yeah, this deck has been very meaningful for me. It's given me some very poignant readings. I know that Liz from West Star Tarot, she also likes the deck. I think she might even use it kind of as like a daily draw, you know. Then
Mhm.
and also her style of card slinging is a little different from mine. She does beautiful spreads like on the daily from what I see. And so she has any number of decks that she works with at a single time. So, which is beautiful. So anyway, all right, let me go
Yeah,
through.
I have this deck too. And I haven't used it in a while, but I have used it. And it is, I do think, like, I've never used the sigil cards just because that aspect doesn't, like, I don't have any connection to like Korean shamanic tradition. Like there's no connection there. So it
Mhm,
never felt quite right for me to necessarily engage with those cards. But
mhm.
the other cards are just a beautiful oracle that like speaks to a whole variety of experiences. And the illustrations and I mean, it's just it's a really
Mhm.
gorgeous oracle. So I think that it's definitely something that has a beautiful connection to
It
a
really
particular
does.
culture, but it's also still very, very like widely usable, and
It
it
is.
touches on so many
Mhm.
different themes.
Exactly. It
It's a
is.
wonderful deck.
It
So
really, really is. And, I know that there has been, because Laura at Aquamarine 18 is saying that she picked it up secondhand and she's in Canada. And so, I know that it is somewhat expensive when you're buying it in the UK or other countries. And I have seen this deck, to Laura's point, I've seen it in Facebook buy sell trade groups. I've seen it for sale used on eBay. So there are ways that you can obtain this deck, if it really, really calls to you. But purchase.
I mean, and that is, I've looked at this deck on and off since it came out, and that is the one thing that has stopped me from doing it. It's just financially, it's a lot of money when you take into account shipping for a deck that I probably, just because I don't use Oracle
all that
much,
exactly.
use enough to justify the amount of money that I would spend on it. And it's not that I don't think it's worth that money, because I absolutely do.
Right.
I just think, if you were going to spend that kind of money, you would want to be getting some really regular use out of it. And I just don't use Oracle that way.
Absolutely.
yeah, that's understandable. Yeah.
Although you have backed the Bana Tarot, have you not?
I have. Yes, I have.
I'm just saying it might make a nice complementary pairing with that deck.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Totally giving you a hard time.
I know. I was like, maybe one day.
Yeah. No,
I actually don't. I own one Oracle deck, one indie Oracle deck, which is obviously the one I'm going to talk about. But yeah,
well, that's a lovely segue, actually. Unless you have any other questions or comments about this deck. But yeah, yes, thank you, Aspasia Rising. It is a beautiful deck. I agree.
It is a really.
You did a fantastic job. The artist, if I didn't tell you, her name is Alodia Yap. And oh gosh, where is she from?
Yeah, she's Southeast Asian, right? Isn't she?
Southeast Asian.
Thai? I feel like she's Thai, maybe?
Maybe Thailand, maybe. Oh, come on. I should know this. Oh my goodness.
Or Malaysian. Is she Thai?
She might be, yes, she might be Malaysian. I just had the guidebook. Where the hell did I put it?
I mean,
It's in front of my face.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but she did a fabulous job. She is Indonesia.
Oh,
Indonesian.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Our grand tour of examples of Southeast Asian countries. Okay.
Yikes. Okay. Yes. So she did a fantastic job. Yeah. Oh, I do see a question here. I would love to hear how the three of you use Oracle decks, frequency and pairing, or whatever. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we can certainly we'll hold that till the end. Is that what do you guys think?
Sure.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I love that question.
As we're talking, talk about how.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm planning on talking about how I use this particular Oracle deck, but we can talk about it in more detail as well.
Right.
Exactly.
because again, like with the morning calm, I have used it in any number of ways, solo, paired. Again, tried the daily draw, not for me, that particular one, but yeah. All right,
The
so
energies of Oracle feel too big for a daily draw.
yes,
I like so many of my oracles are like a weekly thing or like a monthly thing.
exactly.
And yeah, because the energy just, I don't know, something about it feels too big, which should tell you something about how frequently I use Oracle, which is like, it's not something that I use daily by any means, and I have way too many Oracle decks for that to be true, but that's, it's true.
Same.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, I do have some where the daily thing works. I'm working with one right now, and it's that energy. It's perfect for that. Morning calm, not so much. It is, for me, it is it's deliberate. There are very specific and deliberate times when I choose to work with specifically that deck. But anywho, okay, so yeah, we will definitely be touching on that question. It's a great one. All right. Why don't we go to Heather?
Oh, yeah, I can go.
Yeah.
As I say, this is the only indie Oracle deck that I own, and it is the Earthly Souls and Spirits Oracle by Terry Foss. And I think Sarah Foss Robinson is her daughter and also possibly the artist, or they might both be the artists.
Terry Foss is the artist, and her daughter is the one who did the art on the back of the cards.
Oh, okay.
And also, I believe, participated in writing the guidebook. I believe. I used to have this deck. So that is the case.
That's the one I'm using now.
Yeah. The back of the Oracle is lovely.
That's her daughter definitely did that. Yeah.
The guide book is not really a guidebook. It doesn't really come with a guidebook. I think this deck is the one that's going mass market at the moment. I think,
this is
But the indie deck. So I got this secondhand because they wouldn't ship at all to the UK originally with this deck, but it comes with this leaflet. And each card is, there's 58 cards, and each card just has like a couple of words for each card, which is fine because I don't really use it for that. Anyway, I don't really use that at all. But the mainly, this is a straight up aesthetic desk for me. If I had my way, my house would be covered in art that looks exactly like this. It's just stunning. It's absolutely stunning. It's a world I want to live in. When I first got into witchcraft, when I was like 17, 18, I was very disappointed to find out it didn't actually look like this. And I didn't suddenly overnight live in this world. What I thought my life was going to be like, all dresses and cool looking rituals under the moon and stuff. But like, I live in England and it's cold all the time. That's what happens. And it's so simple. And this isn't the deck that got me to realize that I like my Oracle decks this simple, but it certainly is one that works in the same way. It has each card just has, I don't even know how well you can see them on this camera, but a single word or sometimes a pairing of words. Like this one is authentic, energy. And I tend to use this I either draw a single card and it becomes like almost like a word of the day or a word of the week or, a word of the month, depending on how often I feel called to do it. And I meditate on that word and I think about, like, I put it out somewhere and I try and keep that word in mind as I go about my day. Or I use it to add an extra level of depth to a tarot reading. So I might draw, for a while I would do a daily draw, and then I would draw an oracle card every day to pair with my daily tarot draw. I don't do that so much now, but this is a really good type of deck for that. I find that these like one word oracle decks work really well for that. And yeah, the cards are massive and very hard to shuffle.
I think for the mass market edition, they've actually made, because like I know when she used to put this deck out, like when she very first started putting this deck out, it was literally like a stack of postcards.
Yeah.
You had to like corner them yourself if you wanted to corner them, and like they weren't all exactly the same size, you know.
Yeah.
It was like, like the copy that I had was like that, where you know it was literally just like a stack of postcards basically.
Yeah.
So
and then this is the mass market version actually, because that's what I've been using. Here, hold on, maybe I should make myself big. This is what it looks like. So I think it is quite a bit
It's
smaller.
fairly similar. Yeah, I mean, there's less moons on the back as well. But mine are a proper run together of like every cycle of the moon.
Yeah. So, and if this is actually quite easy to shuffle. I am just so thrilled at how easy this is to shuffle.
It's not hard to shuffle, but you have to shuffle it that way.
Oh yeah, no, this one you can riffle.
I cannot riffle shuffle this one. I have tried. I can't do it end to end. I can't do it side to side. The cardstock is actually too. It's like thick. It's not thick, but it's. I want to say solid, but that's not the right word either. Stiff. That is the word I'm looking for. Man, words and me are not.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's quite stiff, so it doesn't have a lot of give, which means it doesn't riffle shuffle very well.
Is it a little like cardboardy? Because like that, or like like a note cardstock kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think Tammy Pie said a bit further up that I'm assuming she was talking about this one, that they could have like just left the words off these cards completely. And I think they still would have been a really good deck, because that's the way that soul cards work as well. It is literally just an image, and your brain just goes off and does whatever it needs to do from that image.
That was sort of my deal with when I've had the first iteration of this deck, and this was a while ago now. This was several years ago that I had it. But my feeling always was that I loved the artwork so much, and the keyword on the card didn't always necessarily match very well with the artwork. And I don't know if that's like changed in subsequent printings. I'm guessing it probably has, because I remember with mine, it was like the artwork would be so beautiful, and then the keyword would feel almost like a little bit randomly chosen, you know, that it didn't necessarily go perfectly with what the artwork was. And so I should probably look at an updated walkthrough to see if they've changed some of the keywords, because I'm guessing they probably have.
They have for some, if memory serves me right. I should watch like a comparison between indie and
I haven't seen the mass market at all, actually. I've not even looked.
They have, and I still find the same issue, Sarah, that it feels like for some of these, it's kind of like, to Heather's point, it is very much an aesthetic deck. And actually, Vintage Moon was the one who gave this deck to me. Thank you so much. Honestly, for that very reason, I remember the indie and thinking, oh, you know, some of these keywords don't really resonate with me in terms of the art. But I, you know, having had a chance to work with it now, I'm using it actually because Sissy had suggested that I pair it with Everyday Witch Tarot. So I have been doing a daily pull with Everyday Witch and then this. And I will say, sometimes I look at the image and I'm like, that's beautiful. And I do not see how that keyword. And I don't care. I don't care because it's so beautiful. And also, for me, the guidebook has been pretty good. Like this has been kind of like the surprise star of the deck, because it has given it's given messages, or you know, the description is quite succinct and yet nice, and just what I need to hear on that day, you know. So it's been actually quite nice. And I agree with you that there it's still that mismatch, because I don't think it was intended to be an oracle, was it?
No. To be honest, the mismatch doesn't really bother me. There are cards where I look at it and I think I honestly don't know why you've chosen that word for
right.
But I kind of got to the point with it where I was like, the art is incidental.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not actually reading the art. If I'm using it as an oracle deck,
Yeah.
the thing that I'm focusing on is the keyword, and the art is just something really, really pretty to look at the same time.
Yes.
And
Agreed.
so it doesn't really matter
Agreed.
what image. I mean, some really work. Like this one is adventure, and she's like going off through these big open doors with the light behind it, and you think that I totally get that. And then you have another one. I was just trying to find some. I can't find it. There's one like there's harmony or something, and this witch is going up the stairs of what looks like a brown house or whatever they are.
Oh, you know what? They changed. I think
into a house, and I'm like, I don't know why that's harmony, but okay.
So they changed that one to success.
Yeah, see, it was harmony.
Interesting. Okay. And yet I still don't understand success.
No, although it's a spell shop, so I suppose.
I haven't pulled this one yet, so that's
okay. Yeah, see, there's a little thing sign up here actually says spells.
That makes sense.
She's going into a spell shop, so I think. Success
so
makes more sense, I think, than harmony. But I'm not really I'm not reading the art. The art is so beautiful, but it doesn't speak to me in the way like tarot art does or other oracle decks that I have do. It's just really fucking pretty art.
Right, exactly.
To stick all over my walls and look at every day because it's totally my jam. And then the words are the thing that I'm actually focusing on when I'm using it as an oracle.
And yes, 1,000%. And also, I think it's because while the art might not necessarily directly speak to that keyword, the vibe is complementary. Just like the vibe, you know what I mean? The energy and the tone, emotional tone of the art itself really does lend to the keywords chosen. Because I feel like for me, the reason this works as kind of like an everyday is that the keywords are quite, I mean, I kind of consider this like I don't know if affirmation deck is quite the right term, but the keywords are quite, encouraging and soft. You don't have keywords like, asshole or, anything that like calls you out or is like, like let's look at, I mean, not to say that the messages are in the guidebook don't encourage you to maybe think about things differently or choose to take a different action, at least for the entries I've read. I'm sorry, Heather, I'm like hijacking your
I don't know. You carry on.
But anyway, yeah. So that I think that's why it works for both Heather and me. It's beautiful.
And also, I don't think like Sarah was saying that oracles feel like big energy and too big for every day. But this deck doesn't feel like that to me because the keywords are so like, yes, okay, you've got things like adventure and abundance and stuff, but then you've also just got words like breathe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Calm and meditate. And they feel like small
reminders.
Exactly.
Nice, little reminders of like, sometimes like just be in the moment type.
Right. So that's why I think that exactly. Things. It's a case by case for oracles for sure. And so, this one is one I can totally use every day. And actually, Vintage Mutant Sissy is saying, try Soul Cat. I do have Soul Cats. I will. That would be a beautiful pairing actually, because Adam Oler's artwork is very complementary with Terry Foss's artwork. So yes, I'm gonna.
I've paired it. I think I've paired it with pretty much every deck I own at some point, apart from maybe newer ones. But I think it pairs brilliantly with everything.
I can see that.
I just think, like I say, the words, the keywords are just that something extra to add to our reading.
Yeah. So Rochelle Amethyst Ascension is saying, I find that my mind can usually always make connections, but I agree with you, Heather. I usually always go for the keyword of the oracle and then look at the artwork. Yeah. It's so pretty too. It really is. So
it really is stunning.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know why I used that word. I should have chosen a different word. I have not seen an oracle deck that uses the keyword asshole, but
I guarantee there's one out there. There will be there's oracle decks for everything now, sure.
There could be just like the profanity oracle, and then it can be a different swear word. Like that would be amazing, honestly.
I have seen something similar.
Isn't there like the rebel deck or something has got things like
there is a rebel deck
it all and stuff like that? Like
there is, and there's another one as well, an oracle deck that was, oh gosh, it was an indie one where it was a bunch of like F-bombs and like messages with like F-bombs and a lot of profanity, and it was hilarious. So yeah, anyway, so I agree with Heather that it's a good deck. Oh my goodness. And yeah, so Sarah, you should maybe give it another shot if
well, especially now it's mass market. It's like, you could try it for not so much money.
I'll have to watch a walkthrough of the mass market version, because the interesting thing is that the deck that I'm about to talk about is a deck that is literally almost in a way the exact opposite, where the artwork of it is not my style at all, but what the artwork says about the keyword like deepens the message of the keyword in a really profound way. And so to me, I kind of do something that I kind of need in an oracle deck is for the art to complement the keyword.
That makes sense.
It gives me something to explore there, beyond just the keyword. But I'll have to take a look at the mass market, because again, like I had a very old like early run copy of this deck, and so it's been a while since I've looked at it.
Yeah, it's lovely. It really is. And I think that US Games did a fabulous job with making it mass market and actually usable. Whereas, I do remember like what Heather was saying, that the indie was just, they essentially looked like big ass postcards.
I mean, they are.
So
it literally, that's what it was. They are
huge.
Huge.
Yeah, they are huge. Yeah. So that
I don't have big hands, but I'm 5'8". My hands are fairly large.
Yeah.
And the card is the same size as my hand, so make of that what you will.
Yeah. So, all right. Let me take a look hopefully I haven't missed any.
There's a couple of cards, but Arcane BS and Audacity Tarot. A couple of
about the swearing, the Arcane
Vanity decks that I'm going to have to go and check out when we're done. I like a little bit of swearing in my life and my cards, just in general.
I do too. I think it's fun,
I need a deck full of British swear words.
Oh,
I know I'm a bit biased, but we Brits have the best swearers in the world.
I would love it. Yeah, get a deck with bollocks up in there like that.
Bollocks, yeah, wanker. We got some great words.
Exactly. Yeah,
fantastic.
I mean, you guys use the C word like playing a symphony. Like it's just.
I don't.
I don't either. Do I?
Unless I'm really, really, really mad. If I ever use that word to refer to another human being, I'm so angry. my brain has gone to, I don't care how much I hate that word. It's totally relevant to the situation. I would never use that word just in general. But younger people do, like the generation below mine.
Yeah.
They use it
all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, like they use it as a term of endearment to each other.
Oh, I don't think I've ever done that. I mean, I certainly used it before, but no, not in that manner. No. Anyway, all right. Okay, so sorry if I've missed your comment. If I have, please.
Sorry, Julie.
No, it's okay. It's my fault. It's my bad.
No, it's my fault.
Yeah. Get my shit together.
No, that is a good idea. Rochelle, that is a great idea. Change the big cards into an art installation and buy the mass market work. That is a very good idea.
Like that was what I wanted to do with mine. Like that was the thing about it, is that I had this beautiful oracle deck, and because I didn't find it super usable as an oracle, I was like never looking at the artwork, but the artwork was like the reason that I loved it. It was like, if I can make a mural of this on my wall, like that would be amazing. But as an oracle deck, it just didn't quite do it for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. All right. Well, okay. So now we are on to Sarah. And actually, Sarah has a couple, right? That you.
Well, I want to give people the option because the deck that I was going to talk about was the Reclaim Oracle, but I'm worried that I've talked about this too much and that people would want to hear about something else. So let me know if you'd want to hear about something else. Honestly, this is like currently my favorite Oracle deck and the one that I absolutely use the most and get the most out of. And so that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it, but I have talked about it before a little bit, even on this series. So I just was worried that people wouldn't be interested, but let me know.
Well, so what is the other one that you would want to talk about then?
So
the other
option. The other one that I was kind of thinking of talking about was the Phenomena Oracle by Jessica Bott, who is the same person who did the Idiosynchro deck. And I don't see this Oracle talked about very much, but I think it's kind of amazing. So, you know, I could talk about that one. So, you know, vote in the comments as to which one you want. But I mean, I will probably just go ahead and start talking about Reclaim because honestly, this deck is freaking amazing and I just love it so much. So
I would say, hey, if we have time, you can talk about both. Why not?
I voted in the comments because that's what you told me to do.
Okay. Thank you, Heather. So this is the Reclaim Oracle. I've had this now for, I don't know, like a little, like a while, definitely over a year. But this Oracle is, again, like I just said, the art style of this is not my normal art style. The figures are almost kind of alien looking, you know, they're sort of like these blobby, kind of slightly amorphous figures. You know, the gender is ambiguous in certain cases. But the thing about this artwork that makes it so powerful, I feel like, is that the artwork really gives you a perspective on the keyword and on the card meaning that is so poignant, usually. And I just, like this card Jealousy, for example, you can see that the jealous person is hugging the other person, but the focus is on the other person, who is like, if you look at their face, it's like they're being strangled by the jealousy and they're pulling away, you know, as a result of the jealousy. And so it's the artwork gives you more to think about beyond just, you know, the definition of jealousy. It gives you something to think about like this one, Doubt. You know, you can see that it's this person trying to pierce through a wall, but there's all of these little creatures that look like this person dragging them back, you know, and it's like all of those little thoughts that you have inside that try to prevent you from moving forward and try to prevent you from trying something new. You know, this one, Respect, shows a person like creating actual boundaries, like what it looks like to have boundaries. I mean, it's just, you know, humility. I mean, the way that the artwork expresses the meaning of the card is really adds something to the meaning. This is one of my favorites, this Loneliness one, where you can see that all of the people are connected except this one person, and like how that must feel, to that feeling of being disconnected when everybody else around you feels connected. So it's just those aspects of it are what make it really poignant and usable for me. And the thing that I will say about this deck is that it has never not knocked me absolutely flat on my ass, like when I've used it. It's like a scalpel. Like it just gets at the thing, you know, and it's a little merciless almost, in terms of how it gets at the thing that you need to think about, you know, in terms of what your emotions are and what you're feeling and what you need to reflect on as far as what you're feeling, which is wonderful. And it's not to say that, you know, all of the cards deal with bad emotions. Like this one is appreciation, and you can see how the appreciation works. It's like all of the different arrows pointing in different directions, you know, and how appreciation has to be mutual, and it goes in all of these different directions, and it's this sort of cycle of appreciation that creates goodness, you know, like all of those elements of it just they get at things that are both positive and negative. Like, I think it's a really well balanced oracle in terms of getting at both positive and negative emotions. And it just really speaks to them in a really powerful way. I don't know how else to say that. So this oracle for me, honestly, has become one of my most used ever when I feel like I can handle it. So so yeah, it's really wonderful. She did recently come out with a new edition that had some extra cards in it, but she also sold the extra cards separately. So if you already owned a copy, you could get the extra cards on their own to add. And she included with the extra cards an updated guidebook that also incorporated the extra cards. So it was like the best, the best thing that you can possibly imagine a creator doing when they put out a new edition of a deck is to like give you the opportunity to buy the change stuff just on its own and to supplement the one that you already have. So the creator of this deck is really cool. Her name is Marion Constantine. I think, I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it, but yeah, it's a really personal deck that again has just laid me out.
Yeah. Like, in the best way.
Yeah, exactly. Like on multiple occasions. And one of the things that she did do with the most recent edition as well is she started, and I did go ahead and buy this. She started offering a journal, which is really beautiful. Here, I got it. But the journal is really cool, and it has a page for every card.
Oh my gosh.
And you can, it's like, what was the last time you felt this? Do you remember feeling it before? What does it feel like? What color is this feeling? What does it smell like, sound like, taste like? What do the sensations in your body feel like when you feel this? It's color where you feel it in your body. Like it's very much about like really getting to the root of emotions and what they feel like when you feel them, and being able to recognize them. When you do feel this, like, what does that feel like? And how do I know that that's what I'm feeling right now? So I haven't started using this journal yet, but I think it's freaking amazing. And I just think that this deck, like, if you're really feeling like there's any personal shit you need to work through, this deck will make you do that, like, no question. So it's really special. It is really special. And despite the fact that when I first saw this, I was like, I can't deal with this artwork. And now I love it. I like love all these blobby creatures like that. I think that they feel very, again, because they're somewhat genderless, like they're larger bodies, they don't sort of just look like an everyday human in a lot of ways. It makes it easy to relate to them, I guess. So yeah, it's really good. If you're looking for that kind of oracle.
So Emma is saying, speaking of journaling, she says, I use this one mostly for journaling. So folks use it in readings. Some of the keywords would throw me for a loop on readings.
I've never used this for like reading for other people. It's something that I've used for reading for myself. But it's not something that I've used in readings for other people for sure. Like, it just feels a little too, personal almost, to do that. Like, it feels like, unless a person's up for that, it doesn't really feel right. But yeah, it's
kind of like the kind of deck that you would expect to be used in a therapy session with somebody who knows how to manage you through those emotions.
Exactly.
With some level of training.
Yeah, exactly. I would totally agree with that. And yeah, definitely, in terms of like personal readings, because it is something that I do draw from it randomly, but I've never had an experience with it where I drew a card from it randomly and the card didn't touch on something that I needed to know or think about, So, mileage may vary, but that's been my experience with it. So, so yeah.
Yeah, I have heard so many fantastic things about this oracle, and I will say it is the art that has kind of not put me off, but just like that's why I haven't pulled the trigger on it, because I'm not sure. Also, I don't know that I want to be filleted alive every time I.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, well, but
I like it. I like, this is the one I go back and forth on when
Yeah.
you speak about it. And
Yeah.
I love the artwork. And I think the artwork is just, the more Sarah talks about it and I see the card and the words and get more of that feel like this is an emotional exploration type deck, and the journal adds to that and stuff. But like, if I was going to picture emotions in my brain, they would be little, flabby, genderless people. That's what they would look like in my head. So
exactly.
it totally makes sense.
Closure. And it's literally a person like closing the door that goes into their body, and something has left, and they're saying this is never coming back in again. Like, it's really, really powerful, and there's also like almost 100 cards in it.
Oh, so wow, really? It's that
massive. Big? Yeah, it's massive. It's definitely 90, in the 90s.
I just looked it up online. It's 90 cards. If you buy it now, it's a 90 card deck.
Yeah. And Aspasia Rising was saying that it is on sale today. So
it's not on sale where I just looked.
I know.
That's because I would be buying it from a shop in the UK who's not going to then charge me like $25 to ship it.
Yeah, but it is really, again, it is. If you feel like you have any kind of inner work to do, it's very good for that. So.
I mean, always. And at the same time, I have, like Heather said, have gone back and forth. It really just is,
Yeah, the cards are small.
They do look small. Yeah, they do look small.
Okay.
They're smaller than a tarot for sure.
Okay. So have you just used that deck on its own, or have you used it with tarot at all, or just on its own?
I've drawn a card from this deck with tarot at times. I've also used it on its own. It's kind of flexible that way. It depends on what the tarot reading's on, if the tarot reading is just on like how's the day going to be, then probably not. But if the tarot reading's on like, okay, what should I be planning for my future and what's holding me back from, accomplishing the things I want to accomplish, then I might draw a card from this deck.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because it kind of in a way reminds me of another deck that you showcased on this series that I'm like this. I still haven't pulled the trigger, but like this close to getting, which is the Future Ancestors Tarot. I almost feel like, you know what I mean? Because that's another style that's very sketchy, and the people are a little more kind of fluid and not, so it's that kind of broader scope that you can see yourself. Anyone could, kind of place themselves in that deck. So
it does have there's a lot of similarities with the art style. A lot of similarities.
Yeah. So I just, so Lala's asking, what deck have you paired it with?
Gosh, I have what have I paired it with? I know I've paired it with the Black Violet Tarot because that has the pink and black kind of overall color scheme. I've also paired it with decks that it doesn't even go with necessarily. I've paired it with like Mystical Moments. I've paired it with what else have I paired it with? I mean, I'm trying to think of specific examples.
The Black Violet.
I've paired it with Sasarai Beto. Is another deck that I've paired it with. Let me think about.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I'm gonna have to look at the Black Violet. I don't know if I know that one.
I don't think I know that one either, Julie. Oh my god!
I feel like I
know Black Violet Tarot.
Black Violet Tarot.
Oh look, Sarah handily has it to hand.
That one, yes, I have seen that one.
Oh yes, no, I do.
I have seen that one.
This is the Cherry Blossom edition. So this is the pink and black one. There is also a black and white one, which I didn't get the black and white one originally, but when I saw that she came out with this pink and black one, then I was like, I freaking love that color scheme. That's awesome. And I really, really like this deck. And like, I mean, they're like perfect.
Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh.
They're perfect.
I have seen the black, but I have been tempted by that deck. Yes, I have.
This deck is really cool. This deck is what I kind of wanted. I kind of wanted the Moon Void Tarot to be this deck.
Mhm.
And this deck ended up being what I got kind of instead of the Moon Void. So yeah, this is a really cool deck.
But also thank you for that, because I was like, what deck is it making me think of? What is the deck that's in my mind that's a bit like that, that's not that Julie has? But then you mentioned it, so that was really helpful.
The Cherry Blossom one that was a limited edition.
The Cherry Blossom one was limited, and I do think that the Black and White is like either she is doing pre-orders for a new edition, or there's a new edition coming out or something. But I would also hope that she does the Cherry Blossom one again, because I love the color scheme of this. It's really cool looking. So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, Reclaim is really good. I'm just gonna say it is on the ball. So
it would look good with the newer black and white. I think it would too. I think it would still look good with that one. I just do like the pink and black. I am
I do like pink and black too.
Pink and black bitch for sure. So
and honestly, it's funny because I think if this deck was in black and white, like it would almost be a little too like stark, you know. I really like the pink. It just gives it a little bit more like warmth, you know. It's because it's kind of a lot to take in sometimes. So yeah,
it just softens the edges up a bit.
A little bit.
I can see that. I can see that.
Just a little bit. So yeah, just love this deck. So.
All right. So
that's Reclaim. Any other questions about Reclaim?
I think so, but Tarot Geek was saying I would love for you to talk about the phenomena too, because yes, I don't think it is talked about that much for sure.
I don't think it is either. And the reason
I don't think I know this deck. Actually.
Yeah. So this deck is by Jessica Bott, who is the same person who did like the Idiosynchro deck and the Amethyst Oracle. And I actually also have the Amethyst Oracle, which I am probably planning to sell, even though it is like very out of print and rather valuable, because I actually find myself reaching for this more. And I think the thing about this deck that maybe kind of puts people off is that it is a deck that it doesn't have a keyword in the sense of like the keyword is just the phenomenon. So like this deck is all a deck of natural phenomena, like things that happen in nature. So you have things like flood, erosion, hail, right? Like they're not haboob. This is a like desert sandstorm. So rain. So, you know, this deck, it's not going to like give you an emotion or like a human connection kind of keyword to go along with any of these things. And it doesn't come with a guidebook. I mean, it literally just comes with a little pamphlet. But for me, this deck is intuitive enough that like if I see blizzard and the combination of the word blizzard and the artwork, like this is very intuitive to me. Like you can go a lot of places with this, and it's pretty much immediate what it makes you think of. So rainbow, you know, decompose. I love this one. Like, you know, it feels very readable, despite the fact that it doesn't have, you know, there isn't anything like, you know, like decompose, like let go of your, you know, worn out ideas or anything like, you know, there's nothing to go along with it other than just what your mind gives you with, as far as how you intuitively read it. And that doesn't always work for me. Like it really depends, you know, it depends on the deck. Like I remember at one point I owned like the Bird Oracle, for example. And like, there was no keyword to go along with each bird that would tell you what the meaning of that bird was. And I didn't have strong enough associations with individual birds to be able to read that intuitively. This, I feel like you can read very intuitively, like geyser, you know, I mean, like it's obvious, like you think of a geyser and it's something that's like, you know, this big upwelling of inspiration, and it's surprising, and it comes out of the earth in a way that it isn't something that happens everywhere. You know, it's like, there's like a lot of ideas that it brings to mind, you know, when you're reading with it. Earthquake, frost. So fossilize. I love this one. So again, it's very much speaking to just natural phenomena, like things that we experience or are aware of in the world around us. But I feel like that makes it very intuitive, because you know how you respond to these things, you know, tsunami, like things that are scary, things that aren't scary, you know, whether you love to experience, whether you're afraid of experiencing, you know, volcano, crystallize, tied. So they're like all of them. So I find it very readable personally, but I know that that's not what everybody's looking for in an oracle. So, so it's very cool. I love her art style. I'm very excited for her new kind of updated idiosyncra deck that she's doing, because I'm very excited to pair it with this, because I think the art styles will just go really beautifully. So yeah, I think this is just a really great deck, and I don't hear it talked about very much. And again, I kind of wonder if maybe the reason for that is that, again, it is very simplistic in terms of what it gives you as far as keywords, and it does not have a guidebook. So
Marlena is saying it's only 30 cards, 30 something.
Yeah, it's not a huge number. It's
yeah,
yeah, I think it's like 32 or something like that. Like, it's not a big deck by any means. So
yeah. And Tarot Geek is saying, me too, so excited about the new tarot. So am I, because the idiosyncra deck has been kind of like the holy grail type of deck that everyone's been seeking. And yeah, she's been posting, Jessica Bott has been posting the revised, updated cards. So it's been nice to see that. And it's funny though, because it's like I've been wanting that deck for like the longest time, but now that it's going to be available, it's like, well, but Julie, you don't do so well with like scenery decks. Like, so I mean, but the thing is, I love her art style so much. Like, I love that kind of. I think the art style too is a very kind of it's a personal choice. It's a kind of that flat kind of vector, bright type of artwork that you either like or you don't. But I like it.
Yeah, I'm very attracted to this style of artwork personally, and I like the simplicity of it, and I love you know me, I love a scenic deck. Like that's like my whole jam. Like, I love a scenic deck. So this to me, landslide, supernova, I mean, it's really cool. So so I do like this one a lot. Again, I find it very intuitive, but you know, it's not giving you like a ton to work with right on the face of it is the thing that is true about it. So
do you know what? I actually quite like that, because I think especially some of the bigger words like earthquake, for example, an earthquake is going to mean something very different to somebody who lives on a fault line in San Francisco than it does to me living in the UK, who we're lucky if we even wake up if we get an earthquake, because it's so quick and so, you know, non-existent basically. So, you know, and some people are frightened of fire, and some people love it, and some people are interested in volcanoes, and some people are terrified. And I just think it really, it allows you the room to react to that phenomena in the way that's very genuine and intuitive to you, without somebody then forcing you into a box that you might not otherwise have put it in.
Exactly. And the thing that I like about this one is because another I'm just going to be perfectly honest, another oracle that I was considering talking about was the Sawyer's Nature Portals, which I have in a tile form, but I was considering talking about these. But these are another deck where there's no keywords. Like, it barely even tells you what the animal is. Like, you really are fully bringing your own experiences and your own set of connections to what you're looking at, which I really like. But the only reason that this particular one works for me is because they're all North American animals. So there are animals that, with a couple of exceptions, they are animals that I have personal experience with. Like, I've seen them in the wild, I've encountered them, I know what they're like. You know, if this was a deck of Asian animals or Australian animals, I wouldn't have that kind of personal connection. But the thing about the phenomena is that I feel like pretty much everybody has a reaction to most of these phenomena. Like, we're aware of them in the world around us, and they bring an emotional response. Even if they're different emotional responses, they do bring a response because there's something that we're mostly all familiar with. Even if we haven't personally experienced them, they're relatively familiar, and we're going to have our own set of associations with them. So yeah.
So Rochelle is asking, did you guys see the Oracle of Wanderings? Probably, but it's not
ringing any bells.
So many decks out there. Is that another indie deck? I feel like I might have seen it. I just don't.
I am not very good at keeping up with
Wanderings. Is that? Oh my goodness, that sounds so familiar.
Yeah,
By
it does sound
Sebastian
really
Weiss. Is this the one by Sebastian Weiss?
I don't know. I have no idea.
This is also probably like I don't need more oracles than I already have, so I kind of like don't pay a ton of attention because I already have
I
more.
hear you.
So
Yeah. So Sarah, do you find it to be a mental association and then goes to the emotions, or does it strike the emotions for you immediately?
well, both. I mean, and again, depending on what it is, like something for me, like I live in the Midwest, there's a tornado card in here, and the word tornado evokes an immediate emotion for me because I live in the Midwest and tornadoes are fucking terrifying.
Mhm.
And I've been much closer in proximity to them than I would ever hope to be in my life.
Mhm.
So it, it really depends. Then there are other ones where you might need to, like, there's one called Sundog, which is like that when you get that ring around the sun, there's frost, they're like, it's like a ice crystal ring around the sun. And that to me, I need to give it a little bit more thought. It's sort of like, okay, well, how do I feel when I see this? It's a frosty cold winter morning, but the sun is shining and I'm seeing this. There's more thought that needs to go into it, right? So it just depends on the card, but they all evoke something. It's just the strength of whatever it evokes versus how much I have to give it some thought to think about what it evokes,
So, I remember this deck. Oh no.
Yeah.
Hurricanes are not.
Yeah, the hurricane card stresses me out big time.
Hurricane, tornado. I think those are the tsunami. Oh my God. Not that we're in that, but
some of them are scary as hell.
imagine.
So
yes.
but again, that's what makes it powerful. Like,
That's true.
you're reacting strongly to whatever it is that you see.
Right. Yeah. And it is about to be hurricane season again. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's intense, this one. So
yeah.
Blizzard is another one that is like immediate.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's been your life this season, hasn't it? Like
the entire winter, it's been just nonstop and I'm so tired of it. So
yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm so grateful I live where I do sometimes. I get none of this. I mean, and blizzard for us is like, oh look, it's snow.
Is it snowing? I need to ask.
We had like 3 days of snow in a row a few weeks ago.
Us is fully like, in Little House on the Prairie when Pa has to tie a rope between the house and the stable so he can go feed the animals because he can't see it. Yeah, that's
Wow.
Great good times. Good times. So
my goodness. Yeah. So someone had mentioned I think it was Tammy Pie that had mentioned the botanical. Have you looked at that one?
I actually had that one.
Oh, you did have that one.
I did. I backed that one on Kickstarter. And then that one was, again, I was interested in a plant deck. And that was the one where I bought that plant deck. And then I ended up with the herb crafters.
Yeah.
So much better for me that I ended up getting rid of the botanical deck. So
I actually remember you saying that when you were talking.
Yes, I remember that now. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Rochelle, I found that deck. I can't remember what it's called. Like literally, it's gone out of my brain. The one that Rochelle just mentioned.
The Wandering.
And it does look stunning. It
does it? Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up. Should I? Okay. So many good decks.
I know.
So many good decks.
No buying Oracle self. Stop.
Yeah, see, I'm like that. I have so many oracles and I'm just not using them right now. That I'm like, I really genuinely cannot justify buying more unless I get rid of all the ones I've already got.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of sort of opposite I mean, I have maybe 8 Oracle decks, something like that, less than 10. And this year I've been actually working with them more and making a more concerted effort to work with them, and I've really been enjoying it. So, and I feel like I've been finding my groove and which ones I work with when. So it's been fun. So I might have to consider Reclaim. I have to think about it a little bit. I don't know.
I cannot speak more highly of it. Honestly, I think it's a really phenomenal tool to have in your toolkit.
It is another one of those that I've just looked at. They are selling it in a shop in like the UK, but it's money, right? It's a lot of money to spend on a deck. I'm just not sure I would use
all that much, right?
enough. And if it was a tarot deck at that price, I probably wouldn't even think twice about it, which is funny because a tarot deck would be less cards. But I don't know. There's something about Oracle decks that I'm like, I don't want to spend £55 on an Oracle deck. That's insane. Why would anyone do that?
Totally fair.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
For
and
sure.
This is something that I feel like we knew was going to come up when we all were talking about doing indie oracles as a topic, and it was like, well, I think we all have like much fewer indie oracles than we do mass market oracles, probably.
Yeah.
Because
yeah. So
oh, I'm a snob. No, I'm just poor.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. I'm a snob and poor. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, and I am also a little bit of a snob. But
we all have our personal taste. I mean, I do.
Tarot snob. That's totally true. Like, I wouldn't blink. Spending £55 on an indie tarot deck, I probably wouldn't even blink. I've done it at least twice this year already. But something about an indie oracle deck for £55, and again, it's more cards than I would get if I backed a tarot deck. But I'm just like, that's a lot of money.
Well, I mean, and especially like you said, if you know that your pattern is that you don't really pick up oracle all that much, then is it worth that monetary investment? Which I mean, I can understand, because as much as I am loving oracle right now, it is still for me like, yeah, I wouldn't think as much about spending that on a tarot, and maybe would think a little bit more about it for an oracle. I am the same. I don't think like one is necessarily better than the other. I like them both, but I just use one more than the other. So, but not hating on Oracle. No. This episode is all about the Oracle. We love our Oracle decks. I know.
Oh, totally. I am definitely, though. I am definitely more picky about Oracle than tarot, and it is very linked to the fact that I don't use it as much, and it needs to. I don't know, it needs to fill a particular need or like really do something for me in a very specific way. And like I've talked about this before, like I can't even identify what it is that makes some oracle decks work for me and other ones don't. Like there's no clear pattern. It's just a feeling. Like some of them.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? With tarot, if you get an indie tarot deck and something about like the artwork just doesn't like hit, it's still
a tarot deck.
For the most part, a tarot deck within a defined system that if you know how to use tarot, you can still use it. You can pull it out and you can go, okay, I don't really like the way this is. I don't really like the artwork, but you know what? If I pull a King of Wands, it's still a King of Wands, even if I don't really like the way that it looks so much. So, okay, it was £55. I probably didn't need to spend, but man, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
If you spend that much money on an oracle deck and you get it and it doesn't hit right, there's nothing to fall back on. There isn't like a predefined system to fall back on.
Right. Exactly. It's like with an oracle deck, you really have to be invested in that deck. You really have, there's something that has to resonate for you to put in that time to then learn whatever type of system or structure that deck creator has fashioned for that deck. And so from the start, if it doesn't resonate, it's not hitting at the right spot, then you're just less likely to take the time to work with it and invest that time.
And it's a bigger risk because you don't know until you've got it in your hand.
Yeah, that is the thing. And you know, that
how
is
it's going to work for you.
I think that's for me, both tarot and oracle, you know, because with tarot, I have said many times before, oh, this is not an art style that would ever, you know, work for me. And yet, oh my gosh, you know, I've been proven wrong. You know, so it's sometimes you just have to try it. You know, if you're, you know, if you're privileged enough to have the budget to be able to buy the thing, to try it out for yourself. Sometimes that is the only way to really know whether it's going to work for you or not. Because I've definitely been surprised that a deck has worked when I initially cast it off as not something for me. So yeah.
And in a lot of ways, and you know, for me, like it's always a question of even if the art style isn't for me, and this is true of Reclaim, and it's true of like the Deviant Moon, for example, like even if the art style is not for me, what is the art saying about the meaning? What is the art telling me about this keyword or about the meaning of this card that makes it unique and special? And there are, you know, but in order for it to do that, like there has to be an intentionality behind what the deck itself is trying to accomplish, and like why it has the structure it has. And so that's that, I think, is that intentionality. I think, you know,
Right.
like this deck is trying to get at something specific,
Right.
and there's a goal as to what it's trying to evoke and what kind of messages it's trying to give. And that, I feel like, is probably the thing that is what makes an Oracle deck work for me versus not work for me. But again, like you have to like look at the specific deck to know if that's going to be the case or not. Like
Absolutely. And so Rochelle is saying I work way more with Oracle in my own practice than I do tarot, because I feel like tarot is a system no matter which deck you use. However, Oracle, there are so many different special systems. That's true too. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great
I think I wish my brain was more that way inclined.
Yeah.
I do have that kind of brain that's like, I need to some degree to have a box that I'm working with inside of. I'm not a think outside the box kind of person. I'm a think within the box, but I need the box to be fairly large to give me options kind of person.
Also, I'm lazy. So I'm lazy, and yeah, sometimes tarot it's just nice to know what you're dealing with. So again, the Oracle, the art there has to be something particularly special for me to want to put that time in. Yeah.
Well, and I think for me too, the system of tarot, I love the system of tarot. I feel like the system of tarot, like you have major arcana, you have minor arcana, you have suits that speak to different areas of human existence. You have numbers that speak to sort of, in a lot of ways, somewhat universal kind of associations that a lot of us have with numbers. And sure, they differ from culture to culture, but there's going to be an association that you have with particular numbers. And there's a journey that you can go on throughout the majors, you know, and it speaks to all of these different, like really powerful archetypes in life, you know. And so the system of tarot just feels so rich in a lot of ways. And it, for an oracle to have that same level of richness, again, I feel like there needs to be so much intentionality behind what the creator has designed that system for. Like, what have they given thought to in terms of designing that system? And like, how have they made a system that is going to speak to the human experience in a similar way to how tarot speaks to the human experience? And so I think it's like it doesn't feel common to me that there's like an oracle deck that has that same. I mean, you know, there are lots of great oracles out there, and then there are also oracles that are just like, you know, just somebody made a deck of cards and like threw some random words on them, you know. I feel like those also exist, and you know, and you can kind of feel the difference when you use them, you know. Like there's a feeling of intentionality behind some, and then some not as much. So
for sure. Yep. So MA is saying, sometimes I wonder, why didn't I just pick a random worm for the dictionary? Because it's not as fun. It's not as pretty. Yeah. So, okay. All right. Just looking through.
Oh yeah, and Jonathan, if you being something you find easy to read without having to reach for the book,
Yes.
I do get that.
Yes.
Not that I don't have decks where I absolutely reach for the guidebook every time, because there are certainly some. But the Herb Crafters, for example, love that deck, but I do reach for the guidebook almost every time I use it. But but you know, definitely it's always nice to have a deck that really speaks for itself.
For sure. All right.
Yeah, see, that's kind of how I feel about it at the moment, I think, as well. With Tarot Geek saying, sometimes I think I work more with tarot because it feels like a great friend that I know very well, whereas Oracle decks take effort to learn, and sometimes I just don't want to work that hard. And I feel like that. And also, I just don't have the time to learn anything else.
Yeah, you're a little busy, Heather.
Yeah, you are a little.
I just don't have the time.
You're a
And, you
bit
know, and I want to learn Lenormand, and I want to learn how to read Marseille, and I want to learn this, and I want to learn that. And I think, God, if I started adding oracles into that as well,
priorities, you know?
it just
Priorities.
becomes too much.
Yes, yes.
Totally get it.
For sure, for sure. So,
Totally get it.
oh my goodness. All right. Hopefully, I haven't missed any other questions.
I don't know this deck they're all talking about now. Which, do you know that deck?
Mm-mm.
It's just, I think it's just.
Is it called just Witch?
Yeah, I think so. All capital letters.
Okay.
That apparently has crappy cardstock.
For the Witch deck. Huh. I guess
Is
that's
it
that another indie.
Kickstarter?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Oh,
It's just,
hold on. I have a feeling that Witch is already coming out mass market via US Games.
yeah.
Okay.
Not surprising.
It sounds like the cardstock from the Kickstarter wasn't very good.
Boo.
It's a shame.
Boo.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been looking at Kickstarter a lot recently.
Okay.
The woman here.
Oh, is it based on that song?
Oh. I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google that.
It's starting to ring bells. I do look at Kickstarter occasionally, but a lot of the time when I end up backing something on Kickstarter, it's because somebody, normally one of you two, has sent me have you seen this deck on Kickstarter? And I'm like, now I have.
Yeah, I try not to look too much on Kickstarter. The only deck that I've backed 2 this year. That's it, which isn't bad, you know. The latest one being the Bana Tarot. So
Yeah, I think I've backed 1 this year, and then I've got 2 other ones that I'm waiting for, but I backed one of them like a gazillion years ago, and one of them maybe last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then that tarot game book thing.
Yes, that I think all 3 of us.
All 3 of us backed that, right?
And we're still waiting on that.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah,
me too.
And you 2 are still waiting on the literary tarot, that whole debacle. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah. But yeah, no, Heather and I are both fully caught up in the literary tarot. So yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it is what it is.
It is what it is. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, Kickstarter is a risk, right? You back on Kickstarter, and on some level, you're just, well, on every level, you're accepting that you're taking a risk, that it may not ever go to fulfillment. It may end up costing you an arm and a leg in shipping that you weren't expecting. It may end up being shitty cardstock. Like, you just don't know.
It's so true. Yeah. Oh,
3 girls, 1 Kickstarter.
That'd be an interesting episode.
Yeah. Well, when we all get that game book,
when you're
do an episode on it.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
So cool. And I already have my dice all ready to go for it.
I haven't bought my dice yet.
I've been all ready to go for it, and I'm so excited. So
I want nice dice. So we've all some of you may know about it, some of you may not, but it's Kuroko. I don't know how you would pronounce it. Kuriko.
Yeah.
Is a like a 1-player RPG game that we've all backed on Kickstarter, which you play with a deck, and you're your own little. It's like Kiki's Delivery Service, where you're a witch that goes off to live on your own, and you know, and there's dice involved and stuff, and we're all very excited about this game. And if you have other people that are playing it, I think you can like write each other letters and stuff. So we're all really, really excited about it.
I'm pretty pumped about it. Like, it looks really cool. I've never played a single player RPG before, so
me neither.
I have not either. So
hopefully
I know how to play it. Like,
I'm sure it will be very, very well done. The rules will be very clear.
Yes, hopefully. So yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of people in the chat have been, having overall good experiences with Kickstarter. So that's good.
This is
too. Yeah.
This is the first time I think that I've ever had issues with a Kickstarter, and even up until just now with the shipping stuff with the literary tarot, even the waiting hasn't been a problem because they've been so good at keeping everyone updated. But normally I haven't backed loads on Kickstarter, but I've never had problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only been one other that I ended up having an issue with, and it was a similar thing where it was an Oracle deck that was based on it's the Noirs of Eidolon. It was an Eidolon Raidon Oracle deck that came out just shortly before Melissa Wotherspoon came out with a very similar one. And so I backed that one, and then I backed Melissa's, and I've already received Melissa's, despite the fact that it was a later Kickstarter. And the first one, they did the same thing where all of a sudden the shipping was going to be way more than it was the original time around. And I already had this one by that time. So I was like, well, screw it, then resell mine, have a donation. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna pay you more money for a deck that I don't even particularly want anymore. Right. But yeah, the same thing with the literary tarot. I have no issue with waiting longer. And like, I know that stuff's been delayed and COVID has caused a lot of impacts and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that there were people being quoted like $100 for international shipping. Wow. Like that was a mess. Like that was a mess. And you know, we'll see. They're supposed to be sending out updated shipping costs soon, because supposedly they have negotiated their provider down. But we'll see what it looks like. So,
yeah, I think people's experience with Kickstarter is very much dependent on how much they've backed. Because I think if you've only backed 4 or 5 decks and then your 5th deck ends up being an absolute nightmare, then it's very easy to think, you know, I'm never going to back Kickstarter again. It's too much of a risk and blah, blah, blah. But if you're like a super backer, which I didn't think, and you've backed like 100 decks and 98 of them have been this wonderful, easy experience, the deck you've got is what you expected and everything, then those 1 or 2 decks that have been a shit show, you write off as a exception.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I haven't even backed that many on Kickstarter. And I did have that one horrible experience with the deck that you all know, Last Unicorn. Oh my God. And I would say, you know, that definitely did temper my criteria of what I will back, you know, like it has to be a completed deck, you know, the images all have to be made, you know, actually produced and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I don't, you know, even though that was not the best experience, it taught me some things. Ultimately, it's just about learning to be more, I guess, more discerning about the campaign and how much you're willing to spend, how long you're willing to wait, knowing that you could be waiting a while. And I mean, and things happen. You have to be understanding that sometimes production doesn't go the way you want. There's so many factors.
This also seems to be a big thing with Kickstarter. I'm noticing more and more, and it might just be where I'm seeing it, but it used to be when I first started looking at Kickstarter, there was a huge chance if you didn't get the Kickstarter, you would never get this deck. Like But now it seems to be so many of the decks that are indie decks on Kickstarter, you know, are kickstarted, are very quickly taken on and become mass market decks. And I know some people, like, they want to own the indie version. That's their thing. I don't care. So but there is always that, for me, there's always like that, do I, don't I? Do I just wait and see if it goes to mass market or pre-order or, you know, do I really want to spend that extra money for something just to say I've got the Kickstarter version, when actually most of the people I talk to outside of the internet, YouTube world, don't even know what an indie deck is when I talk to them about indie decks.
Well, and given also that there have been some experiences recently, like the Ethereal Visions, for example, like the reason why people got so pissed off at that creator is because he did the Kickstarter, the deck went mass market, and literally people were getting their copies of the mass market deck before the Kickstarter backers were getting the Kickstarter deck that they had paid more for. So it was, you know, that was a big, I know that was a big
Is that the original?
The original,
year?
yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
when Theory of Visions very first came out,
Uh-huh.
that ended up happening. And it was like the mass market edition was in some ways even nicer. Like the box was nicer than the Kickstarter. Like it was, so I remember that was
a thing.
And nowadays, now that there is, tarot and oracle are such a huge thing, and so many mass market publishers are cranking out more and more decks and are like looking for material to put out decks, like there is a good chance that a popular Kickstarter is going to go mass market. So
yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So Rochelle's saying it's not about the Kickstarter thing for me. I don't want to miss out on something I want. Yeah. It does upset me when they go immediately to mass market. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and especially if it's on sale mass market before people even get their
before
deck.
people have even received it. Yeah,
that was a shit show. Like there are a lot of people still pissed off with that guy.
Yeah.
Not that he hasn't made beautiful decks. He's made multiple beautiful decks, but it pissed off a lot of people. So
I can understand.
But I do think if you're, ultimately the reason a Kickstarter deck goes mass market is because it does so well. The people who back the Kickstarter are therefore ultimately responsible for that. And so they should be getting something that people who didn't back the Kickstarter are getting for the fact that they helped bring it to life in the first place. I know it's a complicated issue that I didn't mean to get us into. I don't even know if this was my fault, but I feel like it was.
I mean, it's a good discussion, and it's been on my mind, especially with the whole literary tarot shit show that has been. Definitely, Kickstarter has been on my mind, and I'm very picky about what Kickstarters I back. The vast majority that I've had have been really, really good experiences. And so I feel like as long as you do your research, you're probably pretty safe. But it's not a store, and it does happen that things don't go the way you want them to, and that is a risk that you take. But I do think that it's shitty when creators do things like, have a deck go mass market before the Kickstarter backers have even gotten their copies. That's a creator who doesn't care about the people who supported them. And
exactly.
It gives you a sense of like who the creator is as a person,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. Okay. So to see, I really do love to support independent creators, but if they know before it's over, they should be trained. Yeah, I agree. Totally. Absolutely. For sure.
And I think a lot of people who do choose to back indie decks wouldn't care. Like ultimately wouldn't care if creators were honest and said, look, sent out an update saying this deck's been signed up for mass market. There's a really good chance it's going to be available really shortly after you back the Kickstarter. You get your Kickstarter deck. If that is a problem, we will refund your money or whatever, and most people wouldn't ask for a refund in those circumstances. They wouldn't care. They would be happy that they had played a part in bringing that deck to life and getting it mass market. It's when people do it really underhandedly and treat their backers like they're stupid.
Yeah.
Because I remember Chris Ann did that with the Lightseers. I mean, that was indie, and then it got picked up by Hay House super fast. And he actually did post like an Instagram like story or video, being very transparent about that fact. So, and
also in the case of the Lightseers, there were things that you got with the indie version that you didn't get with the mass. The indie version was better. There were certain very controversial, we won't get into it, but versions of the cards that were only available in the indie version that were no longer available with the mass market version. So that you definitely got something different if you backed the indie version. For sure. And whether or not that was worth it, I ended up selling my indie edition and getting the mass market edition because I was perfectly fine with having the mass market, and the indie was like going for so much money that I was like, it's not worth it for me to keep this. But that was a decision that I was able to make, to decide whether the extra perks with the indie edition were worth it or not,
Exactly.
So I really respect Chris Ann for how she did that.
I do too. I do too. For sure. All right. So I think that's it in terms of any questions about any of the decks. So we actually have another Three Girls. This is our Buffy special, and that will be on Sarah. Is it Sarah's channel? We're doing that on your channel, Sarah? Buffy?
Are we? Or is that the one on? Are we going to do it on Heather's
Oh,
channel?
Heather's channel. I thought maybe the episode after that was Heather's
Oh,
channel.
okay.
But I don't care.
I don't really care where we do it.
Okay, why don't we do it? Okay, why don't we do?
I thought we were doing it on Julie's channel because it was Julie's idea.
No. Why don't we do it on Heather's channel?
Yeah, I think we should do
Are you
it.
okay with that? Heather,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's put you back in the mix. Okay, so
Buffy
we are
special on Heather's channel.
Heather's channel. Okay, so we are going to be doing the Buffy special, Buffy Tarot on Heather's channel. So be on the lookout for an alert, or what is that called? Notification.
And we're doing that on the 21st, right?
22nd.
22nd.
22nd of April.
22nd.
So that's in another 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then another 2 weeks after that on May 6th, I think, Saturday, May 6th, we will have the next Three Girls episode. And that will be on Sarah's channel.
Sarah's channel. Yeah.
All right. So, okay. Yes. So that will be so fun. I too, Tarot Geek, am excited. Let us talk about.
Sarah, do you have that deck now?
I don't have it yet, but I've been rewatching the show and I'm almost done. So
Wow.
So you're waiting to rewatch it before you get the deck?
no, I just haven't gotten to. I have a whole long story I should tell you guys about when I tried to go to Barnes and Noble, but I won't get into it on this.
Did it?
It was a
involved being stuck in the snow.
yes, partially, and also something else.
Okay.
Car not starting. It's a whole tale. I won't get into it. So
Okay.
Anyway,
that will be a good time for sure. So look forward to that, and then yes, do see us for Buffy, and also in May. And until then, I think that's it. So thank you so much for joining us, those in the live chat, those watching the playback. And I'm gonna have to try to do this banner thing. So let's do this. So until the next time, thank you and bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.